Jerry raised an interesting point about like this escrow fund. I think that's very interesting. For a while, I felt like as people were getting angry about BP, like you said, they weren't talking about all the other companies because there's this impression that BP is a British company.
Right.
But I think in one of our newspaper articles, it was covered that half of BP stock is owned by the U.S., meaning U.S. banks, U.S. Mutual funds, or whatever it is. So a lot of that money is set up, comes from here. And it's, of course, even if some of us may have part of our retirement money in BP, whatnot, we don't really control it. It's like big banks who do it. And the interesting thing is about this escrow fund is if businesses are getting some of this $20 billion, it may be the same people who own part of BP.
Right.
So it's like taking out of the left hand and putting it in the right.
Exactly right.
That's one of the things that's going on. And the other thing that they never talk about, at least on the TV news. I haven't followed every newspaper article, but on the TV news, they never talk about how this oil spill is impacting other countries. I have not seen it yet, really, with one exception, which is that the spill, the whole, is very close to the U.S. coast. However, they talk about this like loop current in the sea that is beginning to spread it out. And they're talking about how they were showing maps of how this might impact other parts. And they were talking about how this could go down like below Florida and along the east coast of the U.S. and come up north to North Carolina, New York, Boston, whatever. This is how they were talking about it in the news story I heard. Now, at the end of the story, the anchor made a comment about it. The anchor, who incidentally was a white man, overpaid, made a comment like based on like the graphics that they were showing, like saying, "Wow, this might even impact Europe." Oh,
yeah, it might.
Conceivable by one of what they were talking about. But the thing that they completely ignored in that story and everything else I've seen on TV is long before it would impact Europe is that this would impact Cuba first and foremost.
Right.
Because Cuba and Florida are separated by like 90 miles. For the oil to go up the east coast, it has to go right between them. And also it would impact any of the other Caribbean countries that are right there in the region. It's not just that it would go up the east coast, but it would go south, which means Jamaica, Belize, all of these countries, the Cayman Islands, whatnot, these are right there in the front line. And, like Haiti, Puerto Rico, and all these small islands, they would be impacted as well. And they have already been impacted heavily by the overfishing of big ship fishing. That's by U.S. companies mainly, or European. They have already depleted fish stocks, that they used to depend on. This oil spill is going to make it worse. I'm not hearing any mention on the news about like an escrow fund to help any of these countries.
That's right.
Cuba is beginning to prepare, is already taking steps to prepare for it. They're getting help from Venezuela, a big oil producer who does worry about oil spills. They're not depending on the U.S. and that's a lesson to be learned.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to call in the order that people raise their hands. So, Richard, you was first, and then it was
Margaret,
and then Chris, and then Linda.
Yes, I just wanted to say. I just wanted to say. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, we're focusing on slavery and everything, but I want to also state that when this country was founded, it was founded in Philadelphia by the Moors. We had 16 Moorish presidents before George Washington, and the last Moorish president was John Hanson, and he was the one that made George Washington a general. Okay, and he looked just like me.
Okay, that's new information. Okay, Mark.
One of the points I'm going to have in my platform when I'm running for office again is to abolish the prison system, because I think that's a new form of slavery.
Yes.
And the other thing I want to tell you is just a little thing, my own publicity for myself. I'm going to read poetry at Hart Plaza Wednesday at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
And I'm going to recite revolutionary poets, Percy Bysshe Shelley and Nelson Mandela. The poem that he, Invictus, that he read to himself when he was in prison. So if anybody wants to come and hear some revolutionary poetry, you can do it Wednesday at 3 o'clock.
All right. And are you willing to come to the office to also do some poetry here? Because throughout the week, we're going to have, you know, space for that type of entertainment as well.
I really love to, but I need transportation because I don't drive.
Okay, well, we should be able to figure out transportation for you. There's going to be a lot of people, you know, doing the transportation jobs as well. So, but just, I'll have to get you a number or something like that, you know. But okay, okay, this lady here,
Okay,
Linda.
You know, the other day I was watching British television, and it said that 25% of the United States own the oil company. So that means, I assume, by listening to that the rest, British own it. And I also heard that BP is owned by Amoco.
Right.
They're part of it. There was a merger.
Merger.
Amoco and Standard Oil, the old Standard Oil, is part of BP now. You don't see Amoco gas station anymore because it's part of BP now.
I was really surprised when I heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Really surprised.
Go ahead, Cheryl.
Just an announcement.
Okay.
that Detroit is going to be, for the first time, hosting the artwork of Antonio Guerrero. Antonio Guerrero is one of the Cuban Five that have been unjustly imprisoned here in the United States. Since he's been in Florence, Colorado, a federal prison, he's become an artist. And his original art is going to be on display at the Social Forum and through July 8th. It's going to be at the Virgil H. Carr Cultural Center in Harmony Park, newly named Paradise Valley. And we invite everybody to come. There will be an opening program on Wednesday from 4 to 6. Hopefully after the Workers' World Forum or workshop, folks can come over and have a look at the art. There's going to be live music. People are going to be reading Antonio's poetry, and it'll be on for the rest until July 8th. July 8th, there's going to be a program to send off the Pastors for Peace caravan that brings humanitarian aid and breaks the U.S. blockade of Cuba by traveling overland through Mexico to Cuba. So that'll be on July 8th, which is a Thursday. And you'll have a chance to see the art all throughout, you know, during the day mostly, unless there's a special event, and during the hours of the social.
Okay. All right, Kim.
Skillman Library, they have a artwork display celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Mexican Revolution. And so they have actual pictures of actual people fighting on display until the end of the month. The Skillman's open 10 through 6, Monday through Saturday. It's free. Anybody can work as well, and Woodward.
Yeah.
Okay, so once again, we want to thank all of our wonderful speakers who gave us a lot of intellectual information, a lot of intelligent people. And we're going to close out this educational political Workers' World Forum. The Workers' World papers on the table, please pick them up. And also, if you can subscribe to Workers' World newspaper, you should do so. Because they need the funds just like any other organization to keep going, and the articles are just great and informative to keep you intelligent and up to date on the latest, the real deal of what's going on politically in your community and around the world. So make sure you pick up that paper. Make sure you also, if you can, make your way to the USSF throughout the week and the workshops, the Workers' World workshops. Try to look them up and also attend them, because those are going to be really informative workshops to educate. The whole forum itself is going to educate you. So there's nothing wrong with continuing your education. And so let's make it on out to the social forum and become part of a movement. Okay? So thank you, and have a great night. Thank you.